As I've nicely detailed in my title, you're either probably here because you have the same condition as me, or you're here out of curiosity, or you're here to see pictures of my cat. But I won't be showing any pictures of him today, but I will be sharing my story with alopecia. So, as a background, alopecia is an autoimmune disease that attacks your hair on your body. The body creates antibodies that decide that your hair is an enemy and you should live without it. Sometimes the nails are affected and they have pitting or something like that, which Wikipedia tells me. And surprisingly, Wikipedia nicely describes everything that alopecia is. No one's put any false or really wrong information on it yet, and hopefully no one does that. Unlike in grade 7, when Wikipedia told me the Taj Mahal was made out of marshmallows. But yeah, alopecia affects, I think it's 150 million people around the world, which Power Google tells me. But a lot of people have it, and not a lot of people know about it, surprisingly. And it was really hard for me because I didn't know anything about it when I went through this. And the hardest part is going through it mentally, because physically and like health-wise you're perfectly normal. It's just now you don't have any hair. The purpose of me creating this video is that I want to share the process of me losing my hair really quickly and how awful it was. I felt like I didn't have anyone to ask for help and no one to depend on. And today I feel like I'm in a better place and I've thought a lot of things through, and I'm in a position where I can probably help others, either with this or maybe with other conditions, or like just stuff when you're feeling down you can watch something and learn something, I guess. My first encounter with hair loss began in November of 2016. I was in my first semester at post-secondary and I was at a really weird point in my life. I graduated high school in 2014, but I didn't have a direction in life. I ended up working at 2 different construction jobs in the 2 years before I wanted to go back to school. And in November of 2016, my sister was the first to notice that I was, or not, she was the first to notice that there was hair all over the place, as she was complaining that on the bathroom counter there was a bunch of hair. And I thought she was trying to make a fuss and something out of nothing, until days later she pointed it out again and my mother looked at my head. She was like horrified to see that the sides of my head here were missing a lot of hair. It was like really thinned out. I went to go see my family doctor, but at the time he didn't have an answer for what was going on, and he booked me an appointment to see a dermatologist, but it was in March and that was 4 months away. My mom eventually just massaged coconut oil into my head every night because that's what her mom did to her as a child, because she said that when she was born she didn't have a lot of hair and this worked. And we didn't know what was going on at the time, so I took to the power of Google to see what was going on, and the most common thing that came up was ringworm. At the same time of me losing the hair here, I had some really weird rash around my nose, and it was like really weird and fish scaly like, and I thought that maybe those were connected. So I think one of the things that you can do to counter ringworm is a lotion called clandestine, maybe? And it like, you just rub it all over your head and then the ringworm's supposed to die or whatever. But the ringworm isn't like an actual worm, it's just like a rash kind of thing for your skin. There's no actual worms or stuff like that. But we did that for a while, and then my mom went to Indonesia in January, and by the time it was January, like my birthday came along, like everything was back to normal, surprisingly. Like my hair came back and it was good. So yeah, and then when I went to see the dermatologist in March, he came in like 30 seconds, he looked at my head, I showed him the pictures because all my hair came back, and he goes, yeah, you got alopecia. And then he gave me a prescription for some lotion to rub on, and like I was there for 5 minutes and I didn't know what was going on. After this debacle, my life carried on as normal. Around this time, my dad was always really hard at me, and At points, I felt he was really unfair and would tear me down. Emotionally, it was one of the hardest things for me to go through every day. I was enjoying school again, but we would argue a lot to a point where I felt pressured into moving out because the fights would escalate to World War III. And I don't want any negativity towards my dad, but it was kind of just him and my mom. They was always really hard on me because when I left high school, my grades sucked and I didn't have any process of going anywhere. And I made a deal or like a promise that I wanted to raise my marks and go back to university, but I hated it, and this was something that was always on my mind, and like this was one of the things that I had, which probably ended up adding to the stress that I had because I was really stressed out for the last couple of years. So anyways, here we are. I moved out all alone, living in downtown without a job. I had plenty of money to begin with from like my savings from construction, but for some reason I felt it was necessary to live as long as I could without a job. And that is very stupid. Don't ever think like that. But when I look back, I think a lot of the decisions that I made was probably because I wasn't in the right state of mind of thinking for a lot of things. So summer comes and goes, and I didn't do a lot of stuff. And the school year starts again. And then this is where everything kind of goes really bad really fast. I remember this date vividly. It's November 15th of 2017. The night before, I was at my buddy's, and it was day 5 of our 6-day self-imposed weekend. We were drinking, but I didn't have a lot. It was just, we were kind of just hanging out at his house, and then I came back downtown to do the sleeping when you're tired and it's late at night. And then the next day, in the shower, when I was doing shampoo, I looked at my hands and there was just a crap ton of hair in my hands. Now, I'm a guy who didn't like haircuts. I always felt that I looked better with long hair, and it got to be very thick and very poofy. But when I saw that this was like before the the year before that, when I shampooed my hair, there was always hair in my hands. I'm starting to panic because it's happening again. I don't really know what's going on, but it's happening. So I called my mom immediately just to let her know, I'm freaking out, I'm losing my hair. And then I needed to be proactive about this, so I called my family doctor. And this is a different family doctor than what I had the year before, because we had this one guy, great guy. But he was pretty much my doctor my entire childhood, but he went to Europe for a little bit, so he moved away, and then we had this guy, but now he was back, so I went back to go see him. And he saw me again with no hesitation, and I explained to him what was going on. He said that I might have had telogen effluvium, a condition that happens when people are very stressed out. They lose their hair, and it just kind of thins out like what I was dealing with. This usually happens with women after pregnancy or after they've given birth, because it's pretty hard, I guess, or haven't experienced it, so we'll see. I thought that made sense because when I was looking at pictures of alopecia, there's always people with patches or circles in their head, and mine always just thinned out. And at the time, I had a lot of stress and a lot of things that I was dealing with. So 2 and 2, it's 4. And in this case, hair loss was 4, which I thought, so that made sense to me. So he says, just take it easy, just don't do anything stupid or whatever, and it should fix itself. And so I'm thinking, that's what it did last time, so okay, maybe I'll be okay. And then this time, that was end of November, I think I saw him. And then now it's getting closer to Christmas, and my hair just keeps falling out. It's getting a lot worse. It's going faster, and I'm freaking out a lot because it seems worse than what it says it's supposed to be. But the real shitty part about this is it was around Christmas, so I couldn't go around and see the people that I needed to because everyone was on holidays. I tried calling him, but he was gone way before Christmas. So then I tried calling the dermatologist that I saw before, and this was like December 15th, but I tried calling their office, and then no one would pick up, and I'd leave a voicemail, and they'd never call me back. So I didn't have a really good impression of that place. But so I had to book an appointment after the New Year's, which ended up being January 5th. And, by that time I lost even more hair. And I was freaking out. So when I go see him and I take off my hat and I show him, like, this is what happened, like, you can just see in his face and his eyes, like, oh, like, he's worried, he's freaking out. I'm like, okay, we gotta do something. Really gotta fix this. So he was really good. Like, he called the dermatologist and he booked me in, like, as soon as they could, because they're usually always really busy because dermatology covers skin and hair and a lot of stuff. But he was really good. He got me, like, right away, which the appointment ended up being the following week, which just happens to be the start of the new school semester. So I go and see her, and she quickly tells me that I have alopecia areata. And I'm still confused at this point, like, what the hell it means, because no one's explained it to me. Like, yeah, okay, it's an autoimmune condition that your body attacks the hair, but, like, I don't know what that means. Like, I need details, facts, and pictures. I like pictures. But normally I'm pretty good at asking questions on what's going on and, like, what I should do, but I was in such a state of shock of losing my hair, and, like, throughout this time period I had trouble formulating the right questions to ask. And so, like, that was my first appointment. And then she told me for $50 they could do steroid injections in my scalp. And then we can see if the body stopped attacking itself. And I was like, okay, like, it seems like kind of a scam, but whatever, like, let's do this. I've lost half my hair already, so I gotta get something done. But I'm gonna tell you right now that this is probably the most painful experience that I've ever been through, and it hurts. No, I've broken this arm accidentally pressing the wrong brake and flipping over a bike. I've had a 6-inch spiral crack up my tibia when 3 guys jumped me in hockey. But this needle's like 100 times in the scalp, like centimeters apart. Like, that was painful. Like, you're never gonna feel anything worse than that. But like, I pretty much almost passed out when we were going through that because it hurt. And then I was like, my head was bleeding, and I felt like it was like money grab, and I was really unhappy. So I went home. I went to see my parents, and I talked to them. I shared what was going on, what they did, and how much it hurt. And then I went to school after, which I probably shouldn't have. I came to class, and then there's a guy that I didn't like, and he was pestering me with annoying questions, and he just wouldn't shut up. And then, like, it just bugged me so much that my brain just shut down, and, like, I broke down in class. And, like, my friends knew that I was having numerous doctor appointments within the last couple of weeks, but I never told them what was going on. Like, so in the situation, I just had to pull my toque over my head, and I had the tears because this guy was annoying, and my friends got on to shut up, which was really nice. But at this time, it's kind of getting a sense of what's going on, and I was really hesitant to share with anybody what was going on. Like, in December, I just gotten a job at, like, a shoe store at the mall because money, and I knew there was certain, like, dress code or retail. Like, I've never worked retail before, but there's certain dress codes at stores, and I knew I had to wear a hat to cover up what's going on. And then I told my manager that something was up, and she was cool about it. And I didn't tell her what's going on because I didn't exactly know what was going on. And so over the months, I probably told 5 friends, like, that I was losing hair. So by the time February started, if someone looked, it wouldn't be hard to see that around the edges of my hat there wasn't a lot of hair. But I felt like no one knew, but I wasn't going to share any details with people. I think I was like that because I was scared that this was going to be permanent. Like before it came and then it fixed itself and I had my hair back, but I was really fragile at this point, and I just needed some sort of confidence or something, and I didn't have that, and I was scared. Like I was wearing a hat most of the time, but almost all my hair was gone until it just started coming back. It wasn't the same as before. Like the texture was a little different. It was kind of thinner, I think, and it was always flat, and it just didn't feel the same. But it was growing, and I was feeling pretty good, and like it just came back like in parts. It was still kind of shallow here, but I was feeling pretty good. A lot, like I think 70% of the hair came back. But then, come April, I saw a dermatologist again, and then she asked if I wanted to go on any pills or do the shots again, and I declined because it hurts. I don't know if I told you that, but it hurts. And then she said at the rate that it's growing, she doesn't need to see me anymore, but if it takes a bad turn, I should call her again. So there's one thing that I regretted about this appointment, and that I didn't say anything about my eyebrows. I thought there was like a little dip developing in one around here, but I couldn't construct a question to ask about it. So May comes along and my hair is doing good until it's not. I'm taking showers and I notice in my head again like that the hair that came back is falling out. I was numb to the fact that it was happening this time. I don't know what I was thinking. It just felt like it was normal to see that my hair was falling out. And then I just kept looking at it, like every day would pass until almost all the hair was gone. And so I called the dermatologist because I'm freaking out, It's like, ooh, all my hair's gone again. And then so we go see her in July, and she tells me that it's too late, that there's steroids aren't going to do anything, and now the only option left is to go on pills. So I take the pills. It's kind of like the last ditch effort to see if it comes back. And so then in August, I went to Vegas with my buddies, but I didn't have the best experience that I could have. Something that developed over the year was that in areas with a lot of people, I would have panic attacks, and I'd always need to get somewhere quiet where I can be alone. When September came along, school started, and I was nervous to see my friends again. All of my facial hair was gone, and I wasn't sure how everyone was going to react. I pretty much just ended up like this. This is what I ended up now, ever since September. So it was stressful, because when I went to go see my friends, I could see the look of shock and concern when they'd walk in the room, because last time they saw me, I at least had eyebrows and stuff, and I could hide anything with a hat, but now I can't hide anything anymore because everything is gone. Everything means facial around here, nose, eyebrows, this part obviously. All the hair on my legs is gone. That's about it. But it's really, I feel like I got really lucky with the group of guys that I have, because I told them what was going on over lunch the first day, but they just kept making jokes and keeping on like everything was good as it was before. And this was really helpful, and I got the confidence back, and I'm trying to build it up again, and trying to function like I was the year before. And so I thought, maybe I thought I was out of the rough part, and I could get through this. So yeah, when October came about, I was feeling really confident. I thought I got out of the worst of the worst. And so I started developing ideas for YouTube and just stuff that I thought I could help others with, because I thought I made it, Here I am. I'm looking really different than I was last year, but I'm starting to feel better. And this was going good until one day in October, I was getting calls nonstop from somebody who worked at the modeling agency that I was at. You know, I didn't really do a lot of modeling because when I finally joined, it was like 2 months before all the hair fell out, so I didn't really do much. I get a lot of pictures, so I didn't think anything big was gonna happen until like this big company, clothing company called Mark's Work Warehouse had identified me as like, out of all of the people in North America, of the roster that they had, that I was probably like a top candidate to model for them. And like when I heard this, I was devastated. I didn't think anything was gonna come out of this, but you know, like in my head, I always joke like, oh, what happens if some big company like Gucci or whatever, Walmart, comes along and be like, yeah, model for us. I'm like, oh. But you know, I think it was gonna happen, and you know, I broke down during this. Like I was just in shock. Like, oh my God, it's happening. Like I'm starting to realize that okay, maybe I can't do everything that I wanted to do before. You know, I never really was big on modeling, but I kind of thought that it would be good for me just to segue into acting or film like I want to, or you know, just get some attention on me, because I love getting pictures taken of me, and you know, I like being the center of attention a lot of the times, which was like one of the hard parts out of all of this alopecia stuff, because I got put into a shell when, you know, I was always active, vocal, and I want everyone's attention, and all of a sudden my hair's gone, and like I don't want that attention anymore, because I don't have the same look as I did before. So this happened, and I was at work at the time, so I told my manager everything was going on, because I had a better idea of what was going on, and I told like, can I just go home, like, you know, it's bad, and she supported me, she's great, and then I ended up talking to my mom, and she just talked me through it, you know, did just mom stuff, you know. After this incident, I felt days go better. I knew that things were going to be different, and a lot of things won't be happening anymore because my look has changed, but all in all, my life isn't all that different, and if anything, it's probably better than what it was before. I used to go to sleep angry a lot because I felt like a lot of the times I've argued with my dad, like it's built up and caused me a lot of the stress. Like we sorted everything out over the summer, so like all like relationship with my family's better than it's ever been. I feel like I could talk to like him as a person rather than a dictator. Mentally, I felt the best in years, probably since when I was 15. You know, like over the years, I felt like there was an elastic band around my head, like squeezing, and like I didn't realize that it was there until just recently, probably like a month ago, when, you know, like I finally felt it gone. And, you know, I felt that before because I got a concussion once in hockey, and like I sat out 2 weeks, I didn't play, but I didn't realize until like 2 months later when I woke up one day, like the fuzziness and the elastic band that was around my head was gone, and like I felt like a normal day, and I was like, wow, that's like a minor concussion. That's the effects that it had on me. Like, jeez, you know. So here I am today. It's a week until my birthday. Like I love to laugh, and I'm always looking to make jokes, and I want to, at this point, I want to be able to encourage others and just see the positivity out of everyone. You know, there's a lot of stress and I guess depression talk going around these days, and I just want people who either have the same stuff as me or something else, and you just want to watch somebody talk about something, or you know, you're just bored and want to play Fortnite. But the whole goal here is just to help others and help me, because I think the more that I talk about it, the more uncomfortable, and I'll just, you know, normalize myself. And I feel like I have a great personality to help out people, and if I didn't at least try to do this, it'd be a waste. So yeah, I think this is gonna be the end of the first video I'm gonna put out. I'm gonna put out a couple different other ones. I just wanted to talk the process of me losing my hair. I feel like I'm gonna miss some stuff. I've already done this 3 times, and every time I've done it, I remember another thing I want to add. But I think I'm just gonna call it. Post this one. Like my own video, so you can do that too. Subscribe to myself. Is that even a thing? And we'll see. So thanks.